Hey there guys, TPC Guy here with the weekly roundup of the news in tech and gaming, and we're starting off with some news about the upcoming Zen 2 Threadripper CPUs that will be coming out in November. There are some rumors that they will be coming with a new socket. Now, for those of you that were like, oh, AMD said that the socket would be supported all throughout 2020, that was applied to the AM4 platform for the mainstream Ryzen lineup. Threadripper uses a different socket, and it is rumored that it will be a new socket this time around to support and accommodate for the increase in things like power draw and different architecture that the Threadripper CPUs will be bringing. Like I said, they'll be coming out in November. The specs are not entirely known yet, but if Zen 2's improvements over the previous generation are anything to go by, we're in for quite a treat. Still on the topic of AMD, the 3900 processor that we announced last week that had been kind of found in some files turns out not so much to be a mainstream thing, but more of a business enterprise that AMD is launching called their Pro lineup. The 3900 Pro alongside the 3700 Pro and the 3600 are going to be aimed more at businesses and enterprises than consumers themselves, and they will be featuring lower clock speeds as well as lower TDPs than their X counterparts. The 3900, for example, will have a TDP lowered from 95 to 65, which is quite a drop for the same SKU, but it will also have its clock speed lowered accordingly, so while it's going to be sacrificing clock speed for obviously stability and cooling capabilities and energy consumption is obviously, so it's obviously more aimed towards companies as to enthusiasts that value performance and try to push their PCs to the limit. And with some more AMD news, I still have another two little points for AMD, so after that I'll get to the rest, I promise. But AMD is improving their older graphics cards, well, basically for free. The Vega 56 and 64, as well as the Radeon 7, are having the Radeon image sharpening available to them soon via a driver update. This is already present in their 5700 and 5700 XT lineup, and it will also be available on the older cards after the said update is applied, which probably won't take much longer. This will help your games and other applications have a sharper image, supposedly improving visual quality, and it should have little to no impact on the performance. They are quoting like a 1 to 2% impact hit, so yeah, it's not that much, and if you do like the sharper look of the games, it might be something worth checking out if you own an AMD graphics card. The new BIOS update is also rolling out in the near future for AMD CPUs. It's a microcode update that contains, according to some sources, over 100 different fixes and changes. Not all of them are fixes, some of them are feature improvements and optimizations, so it remains to be seen what impact they will be having on the performance of the Zen 2 chips. As you might know from news that you have seen floating around, the Zen 2 chips have had some problems hitting at their advertised clock speeds. BIOS update a couple of weeks back has improved those issues, although not completely solved them. It's still sometimes not hitting the advertised clock speeds, even though some people that did not hit them before now are getting to the advertised frequency. This BIOS update should possibly help with that and improve performance a little bit better. Hopefully we're going to keep seeing improvements, and it remains to be seen exactly how much this will help, but we'll keep an eye on that and I'll report it when it is out. The Gen The German online retailer Mindfactory has, as usual, launched a monthly report in the number of CPUs sold, and this time things are looking pretty great for AMD. You can definitely see the evolution here ever since the launch of their Zen 2 architecture and Ryzen 3000 processors, and it already has been looking, well, better for them in the past few months, as you can see, but especially in the last 3 months, and especially in September, AMD has hit 81%, a record high for the past year of CPUs sold against Intel's 19%. It has been kind of quite dominated by AMD last year. Obviously, their Zen architecture was already quite successful, but the Zen 2 architecture that they launched recently has really launched them over the top. Specifically, the 36 and 3700 SKUs alone have been selling more than the entire stack up of Intel's CPUs. Obviously, this is just the DIY market, people that buy loose CPUs to use in their PCs, in their builds, not pre-built, and this is literally just from Mindfactory, only from their own sales. So it's quite a small sample size. It's probably not representative of the world at large, but it is a very good starting point because we don't often have a lot of different reports like this coming out from multiple sources. So the ones that we do have, it's what we have to work on really, and it's what we can base our ideas and our perception on. anything else aside and any other opinions that you might have on the whole Intel versus AMD debacle, it is quite clear that in the last 3 months since the launch, there has been a massive spike in popularity for AMD, and it is going quite well for them. And well, let's hope that does mean that in the future the competition will be more fierce between the two, bringing us more improvements and better pricing on products from both sides of the stack. Speaking of competition being better for everyone in the consumer side of things, Intel has just launched their HEDT Extreme series processors, and it is looking a very different picture than the last generation that they put out. For starters, the pricing is cut down in half, with the 10980XE Extreme Edition, which is a mouthful of a name to say, horrible, horrible naming, costing 979 MSRP compared to the nearly 2000 of the 9980XE. So that alone already shows that competition definitely is a very healthy thing in the market, with the price reductions being almost at the 50%. The lowest edition 10900X is costing 590, and as far as core counts go, you are looking at 10 cores, 20 threads for the lower end part, with 18 cores, 36 threads for the higher end part. This will probably pale in comparison to the Threadrippers that we will be seeing from AMD, but that remains to be seen and announced, but it will probably be a lot more than this. As far as the frequencies go, the lower end parts have a higher base clock with 3.7 on the lowest end and 3.0 GHz on the highest end part, with the boost clocks going up accordingly as you go up the stack. All of these parts feature a 165 watt TDP, which we all know does not really mean much in today's world. It just gives you a very, very general idea on power consumption and heat output. In any case, it's nice to see that also the high-end desktop market is becoming competitive, and again, just like I mentioned before, hopefully we will continue to be so, and everyone in the consumer side of things can only profit from it, both in performance and price-wise. The last piece of news on hardware is around the NVIDIA GPUs that we are kind of expecting, the 1650 Ti and the 1660 Super. As we know, the 1650 Ti is supposed, and this is not announced, it's still only an expectation, is expected to be launched around the 22nd of October, and there are now rumors floating that the 1660 Super will be launched a week afterwards on the 29th of October, and we are kind of thinking that it will be announced on the same date but a staggered release. So, well, let's keep our eyes open for that and see if this actually pans out. Again, rumor, grain of salt, bucket of salt, take it as you will, but this is what we kind of are expecting. PS5 details and rumors keep hitting the news, not always for the best. This time there is a bit of a buzz about a feature that they say they will include, which is a voice assisted feature that will let you kind of cheat on your games, or at least make them a whole lot easier. It's supposed to, and they were still really not sure how that's gonna work and how effective it will it be on every game or not, but it is supposed to, for example, if you're playing some game and you could literally ask your console, where's the nearest health pack, and the console would point you there, and it was supposed to be AI assisted and all that sort of stuff, but really, it seems really cheaty, to be honest. It's kind of borderline. It's much like the crosshairs that your monitors sometimes have the option to put the crosshairs in the middle of your screen for games that don't have that there to make it easier for you, or like Sonic Radar from Asus that lets you know where around you the sounds are coming from, so you can hear footsteps from your enemies. It's all very cheaty, it's all very cheesy, and it's something that as a gamer I really don't like it, because that's not how games are supposed to be played. They're also kind of the marketing team is branding their inclusion of a very fast SSD as speeding up all your whole system as being this whole revolutionary thing. Welcome to PCs. We've had SSDs for years and years now. It's not that crazy. You know, it's not worth hitting the headlines and saying it speeds up the whole system. Obviously, it increases load times, increases the game's performance if the access to the file is a bottleneck, but don't treat this as this revolutionary new thing, because it's not. You're just catching up. The last news piece is about streamers. A court has ruled in favor of a streamer that was in dispute with Twitch from having their channels suspended or banned or whatever. In this case, it's Phantom Lord. I actually used to watch this guy years and years ago. He was streaming League of Legends, and he was involved in a quite a big of issue about gambling and gambling on, I believe it was CS:GO loot boxes or skins or something, and it was discovered that the site he used to gamble was actually owned by him himself, and while he was gambling on stream for popularity and views and all that, the money that he was using was not his actual money, but it was just the money from the site itself, well, as a company, the house money, let's say. So that was kind of his downfall, and he really lost a lot of popularity. People, a lot of his viewer base, like literally turned on him and kind of hates him for it. Anyway, that's besides the point. Besides whatever he done or allegedly done, because he still denies it, even though there's pretty solid evidence. In any case, after his channel was terminated, there he sued Twitch for $50,000 in damages, and afterwards he sued them because apparently that was not enough for him. He was making on average about 5k a month with 10k peak, something about that, and the court has actually ruled in his favor that that is too little compensation for the loss of his income. Well, take it as you will, but that does set a precedent which is both good and bad. It's good for people that are unjustly terminated from Twitch and lose their income basically, so then they can sue for higher damages and that actually reflect the issues that they've had, the income that they've lost. On the other hand, not so good in cases like this when people are justly terminated, at least in my eyes, and well, then they get off very happily with it when they go for the higher compensations. All in all, this clause in the contracts that limits the damages to 50,000 is there to protect Twitch from enabling them to do whatever they want and get off relatively scot-free and terminate whoever they want with no strings attached. So it is good. It protects the rest of the streamers that do nothing wrong. In this case, I'm not sure it was the best case to actually yeah, set that precedent. So, well, we'll see in the future how this develops, but well, yeah. This has been it for the news in tech and gaming for the week. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode and it's been useful to you. Hope to see you guys next week. Leave comments and suggestions down below for the content that you'd like to see. Like, subscribe if you enjoy it, like I said. Click the little bell to have some notifications whenever a video from me goes live, and I'll hopefully see you around. This has been Ethic PC Guy. Have fun, and I'll see you later.